portion of our lives, put some respect on it, because everything that you got now, you would not have touched anything if it would not have been us being friends to you and your family. That's why I don't like fake people.
Martell Holt recently opened up about the terrifying crash that nearly ended his life. But according to him, this was no random accident. He says it was caused. Someone, somewhere, made sure that car went off the road. At first, it sounded like a normal wreck. A bad day, bad timing, and maybe a car problem. But Martell insists there's more, much more. This story, he says, isn't just about a crash. It's about betrayal, secrets, and a setup that could have cost him everything. He claims the person responsible wasn't a stranger. It was someone close, someone who knew his schedule, his habits, and exactly where he would be that day. So what really happened on that quiet stretch of road? Let's go back to the moment it all began.
But then I stepped over, and I was the dominant parent to them. You understand what I'm saying?
So what was her complaint? Like, what was her complaint with you? Like, okay, because I know obviously it seemed like it was.
Hey, listen, we need to get Melody right here now, okay? Whatever her complaints, so we got to ask her that shit.
Period.
It started as an ordinary afternoon. Martell had just left a business meeting and was heading home along a familiar back road he'd driven many times before. The sky was clear, the pavement dry, no sign of rain or fog. Everything seemed normal. Just after 3 p.m., nearby residents reported hearing a loud crash. Some ran outside and saw Martell's black SUV flipped over on its side in a ditch. The impact was brutal. The front end of the vehicle was smashed in, glass scattered everywhere, and debris littered the ground. Witnesses later said they saw the SUV suddenly jerk before veering off the road, almost as if something had failed or forced it off course. Within minutes, paramedics arrived. Against all odds, Martell was still conscious. His body was bruised, cut, and pinned under the weight of twisted metal, but he was alive. Rescuers worked quickly to free him.
The white flag a long time ago. I've been waving it. You know, I even got off social media and I quieted down and wasn't saying anything, trying to, get on the good side or whatever. But I guess the quieter that I am.
He had deep cuts across his arms and face from shattered glass, and his leg was stuck for several minutes before they pulled him out. Photos from the scene showed just how close he came to death. Blood on the seat, airbags deployed, a cracked windshield, and a mangled frame. From the look of it, no one should have survived that crash. At the time, the police listed it as a single vehicle accident. Early reports blamed it on possible mechanical failure, maybe the brakes, maybe the steering. The public accepted that explanation. Martell himself went online later that night, posting a short message thanking fans for their love and prayers. He said he was simply thankful to be alive. People flooded his page with messages of support. Nobody questioned the story. But privately, Martell couldn't shake the feeling that something wasn't right.
Hard right now.
Yes. Damn. You know what? I'm a man.
That's cool. I know that.
And I'm not acting. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I know you're talking about me being vulnerable, and I guess I'm not a vulnerable ass. It's just what it is.
At first, he told himself it was bad luck. Maybe the car just gave out. But that explanation didn't make sense. His vehicle had been serviced only weeks earlier. The mechanics said everything checked out perfectly. There had been no warning lights, no strange noises, nothing to suggest trouble under the hood. Still, he stayed quiet. He didn't want to stir drama or make accusations without proof. He told his family it might have been a brake issue or a tire malfunction, but the thought kept bothering him. A few days later, he decided to revisit the crash site. Standing on that same stretch of road, he noticed something strange. There were no skid marks. None. If the brakes had worked, there should have been some sign that he tried to stop. Then he spotted something even more disturbing, a long, deep gash in one of the tires. It wasn't there before. When he had it inspected, the results were alarming. The cut looked intentional. Someone may have sliced the tire with a sharp object. That's when Martell's doubt turned into suspicion.
I just hate that this narrative is going around and, bloggers picking things up and, certain people trying to destroy me. But it's not going to happen, though. I'm not going to allow it to happen.
He started retracing every moment leading up to that day. Who had been around? Who had access to his car? Who knew his schedule? Suddenly, small details began to stand out. A weird conversation, a delayed text, and one person who suddenly disappeared after the crash. The pieces didn't fit perfectly yet, but they were forming a picture Martell couldn't ignore. Something about that day was deliberate, and the deeper he looked, the clearer it became that this might not have been an accident at all. Weeks later, Martell quietly began digging for answers. He didn't want police leaks or media stories. Instead, he took his damaged SUV to a trusted private mechanic, someone who worked off the radar. The results were shocking. The mechanic found that one of the rear brake lines had been cut, not worn, not broken from impact, cut clean, as if someone had used a blade. The gash in the tire? It wasn't from debris or a nail on the road. The edges were too sharp, too even. It looked like someone deliberately weakened it, making sure it would fail under pressure. Even more disturbing, when Martell's mechanic checked the car's internal system, it showed a sudden loss of brake fluid seconds before the crash. No alert popped up on the dashboard. The system had failed instantly. That's not bad luck. That's precision. Still, Martell didn't go public. He wanted to be absolutely certain before making any claims, so he hired a forensic vehicle expert, someone who investigates mechanical sabotage. The second inspection confirmed everything. The brake line damage was man-made. The undercarriage also had strange scratches, the kind left when someone crawls under a car with tools. Whoever did it knew exactly what they were doing and where to strike. That was the moment it became real for Martell. This wasn't coincidence. It was a message. Martell started to wonder, was someone trying to warn him, or were they trying to end him? He looked at everything happening in his life. Business deals, reality TV drama, personal disputes, it all started to connect. There were legal battles over custody, money, and business projects. Old friendships had turned into rivalries. People he once trusted now seemed like strangers. He couldn't name anyone publicly, but he admitted he had a few people in mind. During a recent interview, Martell dropped a strong hint. He said, "They came for my pockets. They tried to take my kids. And when that didn't work, maybe they thought taking me out was the only option left." Fans immediately began speculating. Many thought he was referring to his ex, Melody Cherie, because of their long legal fight after their breakup. But others pointed toward a former business associate, someone Martell had been negotiating a property deal with before things suddenly went south. According to Martell, that same associate pulled out of the deal a few weeks before the crash and stopped communicating altogether. He had even sent a few messages that Martell later described as threatening. When Martell connected all these details, the timing, the tension, the warning messages, it painted a chilling picture. The crash wasn't random. It happened right when Martell was rebuilding his brand, taking control of his image, and launching new ventures. He put it perfectly when he said, "You don't realize how many people smile in your face while praying for your downfall until your brakes go out." Whether that was a metaphor or not, the meaning was clear. Martell believed someone close to him had tried to take him down, literally and figuratively. Physically, Martell began to recover, but emotionally, it was much harder. He later shared that the nights were the worst. Every small sound made him jump. Every drive felt dangerous. He said he would wake up drenched in sweat, reliving the crash over and over again. He grew suspicious of almost everyone: friends, coworkers, even people he'd known for years. Nobody felt safe anymore. His once large circle grew smaller overnight. He said the crash didn't just damage metal, it broke trust. It shattered his sense of peace. That crash, he said, didn't just destroy a car, it broke parts of my life I thought could never fall apart. But even through the fear, Martell refused to stay down. As he slowly healed, something inside him changed. He began to see the crash not only as an attack, but as a wake-up call. He realized he had been moving too fast, surrounded by chaos, business politics, and toxic energy. He started cutting ties with people who drained him. He spent more time with his kids, school drop-offs, family dinners, quiet weekends at home. Those moments, once buried under his busy schedule, became his peace. Martell also started thinking about how many men go through silent battles, stress, betrayal, and pressure to appear strong. That's when he decided to launch a project focused on mental wellness and recovery for men, inspired by his near-death experience. He said, "This isn't just about me. It's about helping other men realize it's okay to stop, heal, and rebuild before it's too late." When asked how he feels about forgiveness, Martell gave an answer that struck a chord. You can't hold hate and healing in the same hand. One of them has to go. He said he's not looking for revenge. He's looking for peace and truth. Before closing this painful chapter, Martell shared one last message for whoever he believes caused the crash. Sitting in front of the camera, he looked straight ahead and said, "You tried to break me, but you gave me purpose instead. You thought fear would silence me, but it only opened my eyes. I see everything clearly now." He made it clear that his mission isn't to get even. It's to make sure justice is served and that no one else has to experience what he did. The crash that nearly ended his life became the very moment that changed it forever. It taught him who was real, who wasn't, and what truly matters. So, what do you think really happened that day? Was it bad luck, or was someone truly trying to take Martell out? Let me know your thoughts down below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so you don't miss what happens next in this unfolding story.